"Show me the money," says I to YouTube, and YouTube says, "Okay." That's right, you've heard it correctly. Got my first payout from YouTube after achieving monetization a couple of months ago. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to take a drone's eye view of the whole experience and relate it to all of you, especially those who are thinking about starting a YouTube channel. And I hope you will learn from my experience. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about how I got started, how it's going, where I think it's going, and I've got some sagacious advice at the end that I hope you will take to heart, and it might help you out. So let's get into it. All right, you can see my little marquee down there, Municipal Man. That's the name of my channel. I'm sure you know that if you got here. But it all started years ago. I used to have a blog called Municipal Man of Mystery where I put up essays and stuff like that. And that whole name got just sort of carried over into all of my other activities, music, and creative stuff related. But to get to the beginning of my YouTube journey, we'd have to go back to the heady days of 2020. I'm sure we all remember something called COVID. Yes. So like a lot of creative things, it started out just as a COVID project, right? To fill my time, find something creative to do, and learn something new. And that's how I got started. As a musician and a photographer, I already had some technical background, but there was still a learning curve that I had to go through. So in the early days, it was a lot of investigation, research, trying this, trying that, learning about this, learning about that. And it was really an accretion of knowledge. Just trial and error, trying something out, seeing if it worked, learning how to do it. So that's where a lot of you might be at the beginning, just sort of figuring that stuff out. And I'll walk you through a few of those points. I also have a background in teaching. So doing tutorials and putting together lessons was second nature to me. So that part of it went quite smoothly. At the beginning, I was thinking, what can I talk about? What is a topic that I'm familiar enough with that I can actually speak about it for a longer period of time? And that brought me to the Beat Buddy. It was music related, something I knew quite well. I was an early adopter of the product, and I had been using it for a couple of years. And I was pretty good at putting beats together and using the Beat Buddy. And I thought, well, that would be a perfect point of focus that I could teach people about and make videos over. So that's where it all started. So here's my first video. You can see it's been up for 5 years, got 17,000 views. Those are pretty small numbers for YouTube. I totally understand that. But my audience is hyper niche. There's a very small group of people who are interested in this and who visit my channel. So those are pretty decent numbers for me. I hope to grow that in the future, but we'll talk about that later. As you can see, my early videos are really just faceless voiceover types, screen capture type videos, just going through the motions of producing this task and doing this project in MIDI and using your Beat Buddy. But I did have to put together little video clips like this, right? So that required some thinking about how can I make this good? How do you put together a little video clip to make a segue or a transition? And I had to do some titling, like these titles here. And that meant learning some software to do that and add it to the video. So that learning curve was step by step. It was a lot of just solving problems as they appeared. And that's how I kind of got started. You're constantly thinking about different ways to change the tone or add some content that's interesting. So I use some jokes. I did little segues. I made sponsorship arrangements with some other small businesses in the music industry around town, and that allowed me to put some little sponsorship promos up. And that really helped to legitimize what I was doing, to show that I was connected to the industry, even if I really wasn't making any money off of them. Another thing I did was I started building a mail list with subscribers because I had a feedback loop going between my YouTube channel, my website, and the mailing list. So my website here has an online store, and I was using the videos to promote the store and using the mailing list to make announcements for YouTube videos. And it created this, like I said, a feedback loop. One thing led to another, and that allowed people to sort of join the community, ask questions, maybe get a beat for a song they wanted to play, and learn how to use their Beat Buddy. And I think a lot of people appreciated all of the work that I put into that. It wasn't making me rich by any stretch, but it was nice to get some response from the public, get people to buy a beat here and there, and that really sort of spurred me to on to other things, because it's good to get that early confirmation that what you're doing is appreciated, and it does take some work to get there. I also did some branding. You can see I got t-shirts and a cup, right? And that was so that there was consistency with the branding, so the titling, any of the labels, the name, everything was consistent and contained. Everything is done to legitimize what you are doing, to show that you are serious and you're thinking about these details. Even if it's not the slickest thing on the internet, people appreciate the effort. All right, let's talk about how things are going. If you were to take a visual survey of all of my videos, you would find a million little changes, because I was always looking at, how can I improve this little bit here? How can I improve that little bit there? And I'm constantly trying to improve the sound quality, improve my graphics as best as I can. I'm not an expert in any one aspect of this. I was taking a generalized approach and just doing the best with what I could at the time and making choices and decisions as they presented themselves. So the last couple of years has been an accretion of knowledge here. I didn't have any outside help. I was doing everything myself. So what you will notice in my videos is that there's background music, there are video clips, there's photography, and I produce it all. And the reason I do that is that this is a creative project. I want my creative efforts up front, so I'm not using outside music, I'm not using outside photography, and I want that to stand out. The other side of it is, if you don't have that ability, you have to consider where you're going to get your content from, which means subscribing to stock photos, stock video, stock music type of services, but those costs can really start to escalate, especially if you're already putting money into good equipment. And I shoestring the whole thing together. Now, you may have better resources than I had, and you may have some background in production, and you can sort of just get all that together and do it from the outset. But if you're starting out and you're still learning how to do that, just be prepared to take it step by step. Be patient, make your choices as they come. All right, so I tried a whole bunch of things. I made a little music video with a song that I wrote that went into one of my videos. I did some product reviews as I bought gear for photography or music. I would post a gear, a walkthrough like this. But as you can see, it was off-brand, so they didn't really get a lot of attention. I wasn't really pushing in that direction. I just wanted to try them out because I wanted to learn how to make videos, but I also wanted to see what was going to click with my audience. And I kind of stuck with the things that kind of worked. Another thing I found about my YouTube project was that it legitimized other things I was doing. If I'm talking to musicians about working together or getting this gig or doing that, and even photography jobs, I point them to my YouTube channel and they look at it and they go, okay, this guy's serious. He knows what he's talking about. And that helps to legitimize that and win people over. It really shows that you have the initiative and you have the knowledge to engage with whatever industry you're working in. For that reason, I suggest to a lot of people, because I do some website work for small businesses, and I tell them, putting things online that seem unrelated to what you're doing can actually help to legitimize your business, because it puts you up front, people get to know you, they trust you, and that really helps win people over, especially because with the internet, the market is saturated, and you need to stand out a little bit. And that face-to-face connection can be supported by some of the work you've done otherwise. It's like a portfolio. It's part of your resume. So it's good to get into that content, and it builds up that skill set that you can market to others and tell people about, etc., etc. Another thing I did was I put up a free course. I guess I could have sold it, put it behind a paywall, but then it was a full-time job selling it. It becomes this whole industry in and of itself, and I simply didn't have the bandwidth to do it. But mostly I put it up for public outreach, to offer something, and as an attractor to the channel and other things I'm doing. In my most recent video, which was a big project, I actually got some feedback from the founder of BeatBuddy, which was a nice shot in the arm for what I'm doing. I'm hoping things like that will start propelling the attention my channel gets. Well, that brings me to this video here. The video I posted about a one-person band setup, it involves the BeatBuddy, but it's not directly related to it. To me, this was just another video. I didn't really think about it that much, but it got amazing traction. Well, amazing for me. And you can see it has 71,000 views. Those are big numbers for me. And overnight, it got 1,000 views. It just ramped up my subscriber numbers. And I think that video really brought me to the partnership program at YouTube. And you may have that same experience. So what I mean is you might be posting, and you're not getting much traction, and then one thing you put up might actually really strike a nerve, and it gets a lot of attention. And that will put you over, and you get more traction on your future videos, and that has been my experience. So at the beginning, don't get discouraged if some of your videos don't get a lot of attention. It's just sort of the nature of the game. They get lost in the shuffle online. But something you're going to put up is going to attract a larger audience. And that's what happened with me. Shortly after that, I got the notification about the acceptance to the partner program at YouTube. It sort of spurred me on to other things. After monetization, I started to take thumbnails more seriously. I tried to improve the look of them a bit, to catch people's eyes as they are scrolling around YouTube, and adding a little more color and vibrancy. And this is what you see when you're scrolling around YouTube. It's something you should think about. You'll notice there's a lot of hyperbole there. Everything on YouTube is the death of this, the end of this, the best of that. And that's to grab attention. I don't like to be that disingenuous. Most of my stuff is more informative. That probably hurts me in terms of viewership, but that's the way I am. So you might want to think about that and have a look for your thumbnails, because that's what garners clicks. All right, so the question is, where am I taking my channel now that I have been monetized and I'm looking to the future? The short answer is, I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I'm looking for my next big thing. I think the BeatBuddy topic is maybe played out. I've covered most of the aspects of the device that I possibly can, and I'm not the only one doing it, so there's a wealth of knowledge out there for anybody interested in it, and I don't want to beat a dead horse for forever. The other thing I want to do is improve my numbers. I find it's a lot of work for very little response, and I would like to change that, and I'm not quite sure exactly what that's going to look like. But I'll come up with something, I'm sure. Okay, to wrap things up today, I did mention that I have some advice. These are just some things that I think about as I went through the process, and I'm hoping it offers some insight for you if you are thinking of starting your own channel. Let's start with piece of advice number 1. Just get started. If your channel is just a cell phone and a microphone and you presenting an idea, then do that. I guarantee you, as you go through the process and you think of creative things you can do and you have problems to solve, that will tell you what to look at next, and you can start that learning curve. Of course, if you have a production background, you probably already know all of this. You can assemble everything and get started that way. But if you're a beginner and you're sort of thinking about how to do it, the process will teach you as you go. Next thing is trial and error. It's hard to say exactly what's going to work. So you come up with some creative ideas, maybe I can do this, maybe I can do that, and you try it out and see. Some things you will stick with and some things you won't, but that's the process of improvement, that's the process of being creative, and that will help dictate what you do. Of course, you can look at what other people are doing, and that will give you some ideas, but of course you want your content to be a little bit different and to be your own. So think about it that way. A good rule of thumb you should follow is that good audio is better than good video. You want them both to be great, but if you have to make a choice, go with the audio. People can tolerate creative use of video, but they can't tolerate bad audio. It will turn people off, and it's hard to listen to. So if you have to make a choice about what to invest in first, go with sound. And then you can improve the video afterwards. Besides, a cell phone today will produce some very good video for you anyway, but you can really screw up the sound pretty easily if you don't have the right audio setup. So think about that first. Next point, grow a thick skin. 99% of the comments I get are positive. I have a small community of people that watch and respond to my videos, and most of it is nice and kind, and people acting in good faith and making good comments and asking questions, and it makes a very nice exchange. But there is always the bad apple who's going to show up and just say the most disrespectful thing you can come up with, especially if you are presenting a controversial topic. You have to let it roll off your back and forget about it. There are miserable people in the world who will try to tear you down. Forget about them. Another point is consistency. You hear this a lot. If you look at YouTubers, they will always tell you this: try to post every day, try to post every week. And there's some logic to it. Keeping a schedule. If you have a mail list and you've got an audience and they know when your videos are coming up, they will anticipate them, and that will help them to maintain their attention. If the things come up sporadically and they don't seem to know when things are coming, of course you will still get a response if your content is good, but being consistent will grow your audience. That is very difficult to do unless you're doing this full time. Life gets in the way, you get sick, you go on vacation, you've got other work, you get tired, all of that happens. You just do your best with what you can, but you maintain engagement with your audience and you try to stick to that schedule. You should also pick a time, look at some analytics, look at some research as to what is the best time to put up videos for your region, for your audience, and maybe for your topic. And you try to stick to that. My last piece of advice is to keep in mind that your channel is an extension of your personality. Who you are as a person comes through in the channel. If you are an institutional broadcaster, you're going to have a team of people. They're going to take care of that for you. It's all going to look very slick, and you're going to have your branding in order. But for YouTube, because it is public broadcasting, right, comes from independent producers like myself, that authenticity is going to come through, and don't lose it. And what I mean by that is don't try to drive that square peg into a round hole. Don't try to be someone you are not online. As much as you try to craft your narration or you stylize your videos, who you are as a person should come out, and people will respond and expect to that authenticity. That is what allows you to not have the slickest production value, and still people will respond to you because they appreciate the effort, they appreciate your time, and they appreciate your honesty. I would stick with that as best as you can. Anyway, I think we're going to wrap it up for today. I've covered all the points that I wanted to. And if you do decide to go ahead with the YouTube project, I wish you all the best. I hope you get to monetization as soon as possible. If you still have questions or comments, put it down below. I will get back to you. And I hope you will subscribe to my channel and see what I come up with in the future. It's all very exciting. Thank you for joining. Take care. We'll see you later.